All right. Here we go, guys and gals. And boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go racing, drivers.
Welcome back to the Loose Wheel Show, Season 3, Episode 37, live from the Bill Austin Radio Studio in downtown Phoenix. I'm Andrew Hazlett. That is Ethan Ignatowski. How you doing, everyone?
Well, I'm doing good. I can't speak for everyone, but personally, I'm doing fine. Mm-hmm. It's been a busy 7 hours, something like that. But we're here. We're live. Episode 2 in live.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Live
from the studio.
MU. Hello.
And now for last week's race reviews.
Anyway, let's review. NASCAR was at Bristol last weekend. Lane Riggs won the truck race. Eric Almirola won the Xfinity Series race. Got a few more talking points. AJ Allmendinger, Ethan, was on the pole, which was very surprising to see. AJ Allmendinger, you think of he's a road course guy, not really an oval specialist, but he's a solid driver. He'll run around 23rd or so, and a car that's probably a little bit worse than 23rd on pure pace. But having him on the pole was a surprise. He led a good first portion of the race too, and he went on to have a solid run that wound up getting derailed to something out of his control. But it was good to see a kind of an underdog run at a place you really wouldn't expect it. But Ty Gibbs got the lead. He would lead for a lot of the race. And Josh Berry, he's had 2 races with DNFs in the playoffs, and he completed the trifecta, Ethan. He had a fire in his car mid-cycle, which threw a lot of guys a lap down. I think it was 13 guys were on the lead lap, Ethan. So everything just kind of flipped on his head. You'll see later. Gibbs leads, but Ryan Blaney passed him on the last lap to win stage 1. There's some mixed strategies. Ty Gibbs continued to lead. Then we had an incident with Riley Herbst spinning out Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Eric Jones spins off of Cole Custer, and McDowell spins on his own. But the key part here, Ethan, is you notice how I mentioned that there was 13 cars in the lead lap. One of those cars that got the free pass was Christopher Bell. Might want to remember that for later. We saw Carson Hocevar leading. He had another solid run. He's had a lot of solid runs this season, Ethan. Spire is building something with Carson Hocevar. I think he's the real deal. Spire's going to want to keep him for as long as they can, which, who knows, Hendrick could pick him up as soon as, I think, 2027, realistically. Or someone else could poach him, you never know. There's a reason why silly season's called silly season, Ethan.
You never know what's going to happen.
Ty Gibbs led, as there's a bunch of cautions. He wound up winning stage 2. Shane Van Gisbergen had, I'm not going to go through all these incidents, but Shane Van Gisbergen had a few issues that he just derailed his day. Chase Elliott was involved in a crash that took him out of contention. Almost put him out of the playoffs. I think he wound up being the second to last guy in, but he kind of just had a round of 16 where he was just there, didn't really wow anyone. So he's going to have to step up his game in the future. At this point, Briscoe is leading. And then, say it with me, Hamlin. Say it with me, Ethan.
What?
Denny Hamlin lost a wheel.
So you could say it was like a loose wheel.
Yes.
Perhaps.
And collects Allmendinger, who I mentioned earlier. That's what happened to his day. And William Byron. What's interesting to me, Ethan, is we've talked about the single lug nuts before. This time, Hamlin, because he was the only guy to pit under when he pitted, and it took a while for that wheel to become loose. So I think they almost got it tight, but yeah, regardless, they have a 2-race suspension for those crew members that they're deferring to to have it not be at New Hampshire, they're going to have it be at the Roval and Kansas instead. I believe if those are the rest. Yeah, Kansas and then the Roval, which makes sense. You look at Denny Hamlin, he's good at New Hampshire, solid at Kansas as well. Not really good at Charlotte Roval. That's kind of an oddball course. And yeah, if the choice is how the suspension at New Hampshire or the Roval, I'd rather have my best guys at New Hampshire. I do think that's an issue that NASCAR needs to fix. I think that's something I don't like. I don't know about you. You don't really see deferred suspensions in any other sport, like baseball or football or whatever. I mean, I don't know the college football, the stuff with Harbaugh and Sharon Moore. I know they've been suspended, and I know it's been on some odd games. So I don't really know how that works. So I can't really speak to that well. So yeah, moving forward, we're into the final stretch, Ethan, where Ty Gibbs is leading green flag pit stops, and Ty Gibbs chokes it. When he tried to get to pit road, he messed up. I think there was a car in the way, and that wound up costing him because he went from leading the race to out of the picture. That cost him so much time. Keselowski inherited the lead. Cindric has a fire on his stop. I believe I don't think that brought out the caution, Ethan. But regardless, that took him out of contention. And now Elliott was safe, and now Cindric's potentially on the bubble. We'll see. Carson Hocevar gets the lead as the 6-car fades. 48 fades from second. Of Alex Bowman. He was one position from getting into the next round from where he was running compared to Cindric. But green flag pit stops are some, including Hocevar and Bowman. 4 guys had yet to pit when the caution came out. Those were Keselowski, Bell, Blaney, and Logano. With 12 to go, the caution came out with Wallace in the wall. Blaney had a slow stop, but it was okay. There was like 10 cars on the lead lap, so he was fine. You had Hocevar, Zane Smith, who had a great run all day long. Alex Bowman stay out. And you had 5 guys pit: Keselowski, Bell, Logano, Corey Heim in the 67 car, and Ryan Blaney pit. On the restart, Zane Smith just washed up into Hocevar. That left the door open for Christopher Bell to just motor on through, wound up getting ahead of everyone. And Keselowski caught up to him, gave him the bumper, but not hard enough. So Bell won. I give the race a 7 out of 10. A good, solid race. My takeaways: Toyota was dominating this whole race pretty much. You had Gibbs, you had Briscoe, and you had Bell lead the majority of the race. I guess you did have Blaney, Allmendinger, Hocevar, and Keselowski get in there, but it was large. I think Toyota, of the 500 laps, I think Toyota led at least 300 of them. We had a lot of boring spins, just one car crashes that kind of just slowed down the middle of the race. Good runs from Zane Smith. Good to see. We know he's got some potential. With this whole front row thing be going on, it's hard to see how is front row at their best with the lawsuit. And last year with Spire, he knew he was out of there after halfway through the season. So Zane Smith, there's a lot of potential there. I don't think we've seen that fully realized yet with what his cars can be. So that's something I can keep an eye on. We talked about Hocevar, we talked about Allmendinger. Corey Heim I want to talk about as well. A 6th place finish for 2311, best car out there. This is the final proof we need, Ethan, to say, oh yeah, this guy's Cup ready. And the fact that he's not going to be in a Cup car next year in all likelihood,
kind of crazy.
Is crazy. You look at guys who have just been in the Cup Series for either too long or haven't really shown the talent that they need to stay in the Cup Series, like Cody Ware, Riley Herbst, Cole Custer, all come to mind as the first 3 guys. Say, are they really anything special? No, not really. I think Corey Heim deserves that seat a lot more. And then there's some other guys that you say borderline guys like Justin Haley. Is Justin Haley better than Corey Heim? Probably not, but Haley's still a solid driver. Guys like that. John Hunter Nemechek, et cetera, et cetera. Not going to go into that exactly. But the big takeaway for me of this race was tire wear. A lot of tire wear. Everyone, whenever there was a caution, would come and pit. Goodyear had to bring out an extra set for the teams as well, something that's seen.
I mean, that's kind of the opposite of how it has been, right?
Yeah, well, NASCAR's kind of been trending to a softer tire. The tire wear was expected. Marty Snyder from NBC on the broadcast, they interviewed some guy from Goodyear who seemed to be the head of everything there, and he said, "Yeah, this is what we expected to see. This is what the industry, teams, drivers want. So what we saw is what we're expecting, which is good. Goodyear ought to know what the tire's doing." I go back to the spring of 2024, Ethan, where there was a similar tire, and Goodyear was surprised it wore so much. So yeah, Goodyear, they know what they're doing now. They've got a good product, I think. Which I think it's what Goodyear's doing and NASCAR's doing is having the tire be soft is masking the underlying problems of the next gen car of it not being very good. It's a band-aid. It can only work for certain tracks for certain times, right?
Sure.
And I will give credit to Goodyear. They did a good job, but it's a band-aid for the problem, but it's not the fix of the problem. And so I appreciate what Goodyear and NASCAR is doing, but NASCAR still has to put got to figure out, okay, why is this car got to be better? I will also say about it, I think the fires. We saw a few guys light on fire. That's from all the tire wear, the marbles, Ethan. Like a few years ago, Larry Mack Reynolds, the crew chief turned broadcaster at Atlanta, was describing Atlanta as a cheese grater. And he took an actual cheese grater to a tire and just sawed it off. That's what tracks like what Atlanta was, and not that anymore, but Darlington, Bristol, and Richmond all come to mind. It's kind of those cheese grater tracks where they take like bits of tire off like cheese and sprinkle it on the track, and all that rubber is going to build up, Ethan, and get into these rocker panels. I believe it's the right place, and cause a fire.
Yeah, that's dangerous.
Which is dangerous. It rarely happens, but we did see a lot of it. That's something NASCAR's got to look at moving forward. I know. I don't know if they swept the track under caution. I know IndyCar always does that, but that's something to look out for moving forward. Into the news, Ethan.
Well, before that, because this wasn't an elimination race.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about who got eliminated. As I mentioned, Alex Bowman, he just didn't quite have the car at the end, too far back. Shane Van Gisbergen was a non-factor all playoffs. Same thing can be said with Austin Dillon and Josh Berry. Just 3 incidents, 3 races. Unfortunate timing for him. He's a better driver than that. I thought he was going to contend if I don't remember what happened in Gateway, but Darlington, that was one in his control. Bristol, one out of his control with the fire. I'm trying to scroll back, see if Wikipedia has anything on that. Exactly what happened. No, they don't. So, yeah, at the end of the day, Barry's probably going to get another shot at the playoffs at some point. But the 21 car has shown it is a good car again, which is the first time we can really say that since. I mean, you could argue Matt Benedetto or Paul Menard, but those guys were not really ever huge threatening contenders. This is really the first time the 21 car's been threatening since Ryan Blaney drove that car. That was a young Ryan Blaney too. Yeah. So yeah. Now
kind of expected then the eliminations. I mean, I don't know. I think I still can't believe that Alex Bowman in a Hendricks car is performed as bad as he did just throughout the season.
I don't think he had a bad regular season. I mean, 10th in points is
uneventful.
It's uneventful, but
it wasn't anywhere near the he didn't reach anywhere near the heights of the other Hendrick drivers.
But you could say the same thing about Chase Elliott the last 2 seasons.
Yeah, and there were questions then too.
I always thought those questions were just frankly pushing it. We know Elliott's a solid driver, championship driver, winning driver.
Alex Bowman has never shown himself to be a championship driver. There's a difference for you.
That's fair, but I'm concerned. I think concerned's the right word for Alex Bowman. We've seen him in the past go all the way to the round of 8. I don't know where that speed has gone. I know there's been a crew chief change since then, and he's missed a lot of time with injury as well, what you have to factor in. I think if Bowman doesn't take a step up next season, I think his seat is on the hot seat. Because when you get injured, Ethan, you lose so much time in this new car. And like we saw it with Chase Elliott in 22, the first season of the next-gen car. He missed, I think it was a couple months, and was terrible the rest of the year, and struggled to find his form. And now he's, I think, back there. Alex Bowman, it's 2023, missed, I think, a similar amount of time with injury. Struggled in 24, and 2025 he's starting to get back to his form. If he doesn't get there in 26, I think the axe might be coming. Hocevar might begin that 48 seat in 27. But if you think Hendrick's going to swap out Bowman in 26, I think you're delusional. I
never said they're going to swap him out, but what I am saying is that something's got to change.
Yeah. Anyway, I think we've talked about Bowman a lot. Into the news.
And now for the news.
2311 and FRM asked for a ruling on NASCAR's counterclaim. They asked to have Judge Bell rule the case instead of a jury. I don't know what that's going to mean in terms of everything, but that's just something to note. And also, Ethan, from the NASCOURT lawsuit, NASCAR released their contingency plan of, okay, if the race is boycotted by teams, or teams are just skipping races well in advance. Look, they had 4 PowerPoint slides where there really was like a couple interesting things. If teams boycotted a race after the green flag, if it was halfway, they would award points and end the event. If not halfway, they'd postpone it like it was a rain delay to buy time. If they postpone, or if the teams boycott the race on the grid prior to the green flag, they would treat it like a rain delay to buy time. Some interesting things there. Looking further, there would, if there's a total race weekend event boycott, they get the support series to become the main event. That's how NASCAR was planning on this. If the team said, I'll never sign the charters, they'd have like the Xfinity series would be your Cup series, which is crazy to think about, Ethan, but that's what could happen. So there'd be a lot of different dominoes, rest of dominoes falling as well. And if long-term plans of how charters would fall, there'd be expansion opportunities for existing charter owners if they capacity allowed. They would balance the field set with open entries, and also potentially bring in Xfinity Series and or ARCA vehicles into the field. Because if, let's say only 12, like 3 teams signed the charter deal, Ethan, and only 12 cars, and the rest of the teams are like, no, we're not racing. They'd bring in Xfinity teams, ARCA teams, say, hey, let's get a full field here.
They'd be running Cup Series cars, or they'd be running...
They'd be Cup Series versus Xfinity and versus ARCA all in one race. Because
that is... That's interesting.
That's
the nicest thing I can say.
And then they'd set a balance of performance so that all cars are basically race the same, like in terms of speed. Can you follow where I'm going here?
Sure, but like, what does this even mean? Like, what? Okay, why not just race? Sounds like they're being overly complicated just to be overly complicated.
What's your question, Ethan?
Why even bring in those other cars?
Because why would you want to have a race of 12 cars?
Why would I want to have a race of Cup Series cars versus Xfinity Series cars versus ARCA Series cars versus a Barbie Jeep?
Because you have a full field, Ethan. You have 40 cars on the grid. That's why you look at I know it's kind of a apples to oranges situation here, Ethan, but you look at sports car racing. You have in IMSA you've got your GTPs.
Yeah, but that is apples to oranges because those are different categories. It wouldn't be like if they wanted to make it like Cup Series versus Xfinity versus ARCA, and those are 3 separate categories. That would still be weird, but at least it would make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this just doesn't make sense. Like, not that any of this stuff is ever going to happen anyway.
Yeah.
But
it's just interesting to see.
It's doesn't seem like they thought it through that well, in my opinion.
Well, I think they had just a handful of plans, and like this is what they kind of thought of would be the best. They obviously in August of last year, I believe, was when the agreement got signed by all but 2 teams, which is good for NASCAR. You got a lot of people there with in the series. You only have those 2 teams of 3 chartered cars each that didn't wind up signing. So I think it was good for NASCAR that didn't have to go down this road. It's really all I have for that. I also I forgot to mention, I want to give Ty Gibbs the ARCA race moment of the week for just missing pit road. Moving over to IndyCar, Ethan, the 2026 schedule was finally unveiled. No Mexico City, no race in DC area. Unfortunately, those were rumored of happening. They didn't happen. But you also look at there's about 5 things I want to take away. No Thermal Club or Iowa at all. Thermal Club was an outright disaster.
Yeah.
We've covered it on the show many times. The racing was just terrible. Yeah. The broadcast went out. They don't even have grandstands for fans.
Yeah. No, I was there this summer. I drove on that track this summer. Like, it's a really fun, cool track, but it's not a track for IndyCar. It doesn't promote good racing for those cars. It's just not a conducive environment for a professional racing series.
Yeah, like you said, Ethan, what you did there is what the track was meant for. A place for rich guys to drive their cars and go, except that you're not a rich guy. Yeah. I don't want to spread any false information.
Oh yeah, you want to let everyone know that I'm broke?
I didn't say you're broke. I just said you're not rich. Doesn't mean you're broke. Could be middle class.
Me personally, I'm a broke college student.
Okay, you can just say.
I'll admit it. We're all broke college students.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how it is.
But anyway, the track is meant to be a country club for race cars, and that's what it is. It's good. It's good for that. It brings a lot of money there. But for IndyCar Series, Ethan, you put on the head. It's not good. And Iowa, the doubleheader there this year was just a failure. You look in the past, Hy-Vee was promoting it. They brought in temporary grandstands, Ethan, because there was so much people wanting to go to the races, wanting to see the concerts. They always had a concert before and after each race. But now, this year, IndyCar or Hy-Vee stopped promoting it, so it's IndyCar really backing it. So there's no more concerts. The ticket prices were still the same. So instead of we get 2 free concerts in a race, well, it's just a race and you're paying the same price. That made a lot of people not want to go. And besides, NASCAR's there later in the year. A lot of people prefer NASCAR to IndyCar, and and
also just doubleheader races are kind of a
you don't
meh idea.
You don't like doubleheader races.
I don't like. I see them as kind of pointless.
But regardless, both Iowa races were taken off the schedule. I would have liked them to keep one. There's around like 200 people at each race last year. It does make sense, but there's a lot of people saying that Penske really didn't promote it because they wanted it off the schedule regardless, which, okay. Anyway, regardless, we all getting an extra date. Milwaukee gets a second date for a doubleheader. Phoenix comes, and then Arlington, the street race. So in terms of the dynamics of the schedule, same amount of ovals, one more street race, one less road course at the end of the day. We'll see. There's a lot more races in the beginning of the year, a lot more hype there, which is something IndyCar I think needs to do, because it used to be, just St. Pete was on a quote-unquote island, and there was Long Beach, and then it was Barber, and it was in the month of May already. But now, you did have Thermal Club in there, but now that's gone, fortunately. Now you've got Phoenix. Now you've got Arlington in there as well. That's 2 more race weekends where you can build hype up for the 500.
I think it's cool that they're racing at Phoenix.
Good thing. Yeah, I
right around the corner.
Yeah, right around our neck of the woods of the country.
You might,
I like it.
We might have to see if we can get out there.
We will definitely try to get out there. We'll see how all that goes down. I'd love to get out to Arlington as well. I don't know if that's gonna happen, but I think I think that's those changes are all good. I would probably say 1 Iowa date and 1 Milwaukee date, if it's up to me. I don't know about you, Ethan.
Yeah, I don't think that we need second time around for anything.
And also, one thing we need Toronto replaces by Markham, street circuit and street circuit changing. So, yeah. Here's something I do want to rant about. The one real thing I want to say is... Are
you really gonna do it live on air?
Yes, but it'll be under the table, so it won't be too loud. We have a rubber chicken.
Andrew, I have zero part of this. I do not approve of this. This is not Ethan approved. This is all Andrew. All angry mail should be directed to Andrew.
I don't think we'll get any mail regardless. With that all being said, I have a chicken that was gifted to me as a... There's a story behind it. I'm not going to get onto it.
It's a gag gift. You can just
basically
say that.
The gag gift. But yeah, I'm like, I got to... And I said to myself, I should use this as a reward. Like Jimmy Spencer does the crying towel. I have a chicken to just give out.
A rubber chicken. It's not an actual chicken. You should clarify that.
Yeah,
we don't have a chicken running around the Bill Lawson radio studio.
No, that's... Yeah, regardless, what I'm frustrated about is Nashville and Laguna Seca swap places. Nashville is not the championship race anymore. Laguna Seca is. When you look at Laguna Seca, Ethan, that was recently the championship round but they swapped it with Nashville. You know why? Laguna's, it's this sleepy little race circuit. Not a lot of fans show up. The racing's just okay. We'll move to Nashville. There's a big party scene in Nashville. The racing's good. The crowds were good. Nashville was the spot in a major market to Laguna Seca. I don't think Laguna's that close to the Bay Area. Correct me if I'm wrong here, Ethan.
It's close to Monterey, which is about, I mean, depends on where you are in the Bay, but from where I'm at, probably about hour and a half.
Yeah, so it's a trek for those Bay Area fans to get to Monterey, to Monterey. So it's not really in a major market. So why are they moving it? Doesn't make sense. If you look at the press conference and the quotes, a lot of people in IndyCar weren't happy. Were happy that they were moving it away from Laguna Seca, and now they're bringing it back. Confuses me. I don't like it at all. I think it's frustrating. We have this really cool venue at the Oval. If I know they're trying to get a street circuit back when the Titans venue opens, with going over the river on the bridges, which is really, really, really cool. Love to see that back. But regardless, I don't feel like there's any reason to move it to Laguna Seca for me.
Well, I feel like it's probably just because they want it to be a road course.
Yeah, but there's better road courses to go to, man. Like Laguna Seca, you aren't gonna move the Indy road course out because it's in the month of May. That's the thing. But I say Barber would be cool. Road America Championship race, that would be really cool. Or Mid-Ohio. Mid-Ohio's been July 4th weekend, so maybe not that one.
You say those tracks, but those tracks are also kind of all middle of nowhere, are they not? Like if it's
at least there's better fan turnout at some of these tracks. The racing's better at some of these tracks. Laguna Seca, you could argue now that Thermal's off the schedule, it's the worst road course on the IndyCar schedule based off the racing. Why is that the championship route? I'm just not moved by this, so I'm gonna squeeze the chicken. It's not gonna be too loud. So yeah.
Sounds like a clown horn, kind of.
Yeah, it's more of a it does sound like a clown horn, but yeah. I'm just not moved.
I guess it's a little bit disappointing, but I think we have a bit of a theme of this happening in racing series. I mean, the circuit at Abu Dhabi, Yas Marina, that's one of the worst on the F1 calendar, and it's been the championship round for forever now. I mean, it's disappointing, but maybe it's a bit of a trend where you just put your worst circuit last. Obviously, though, like
I know a lot of people in NASCAR don't like Phoenix.
Yeah, some people
I
think
do.
Phoenix is really bad. So, I don't know. I personally don't really care too much where the final stop is, because you're gonna go to all those tracks anyway. I don't really get too lost in what the order is. Like if there's a reason that I would care about the order, is because I think that, you know, like with the travel and all that, like it doesn't make sense. Like mostly for F1, like all the North America races should be clustered together. I think all the European races should be clustered together. All the Oceania, Asia races should be clustered together. But in terms of like Nashville versus Laguna Seca, I don't know. It's not a huge deal to me. Like, I guess I would want it to be at a track that promotes more passing and battling in case there is a fight for the championship, but also, like, Alex Palou is just going to lock it up with 3 races to go, so who cares? To an extent.
Yeah, I feel you there. And the one last point, Barber is up a month. It used to be at end of April or first week into May. Now it's in that March run, so the March-April stretch is going to be jam-packed for IndyCar. It's like something I mentioned earlier. Anyway, F1, Ethan, a lot of stuff happening there.
A few things, yeah.
new sprint venues and as well, and they addressed the Indy 500 clash, which I think is a good thing.
Yeah, let's start with that.
They have the Canada race starting at 4 local, which I believe, because the IndyCar race I think starts at noon, so that gives the IndyCar race 4 hours. That should be should slot in nicely.
Yeah, as long as there's no rain delays or anything like that, which, I mean, you never know. So you still gotta cross your fingers a little bit, but like you said, should theoretically be enough of a buffer in between start times. Originally, it was kind of concerning for some people. Obviously, in the past, Monaco has always happened before the Indy 500, and Monaco is starting at like
7 a.m.
7 or 8 Indianapolis time. So there's plenty of time for that race to run, finish, and then you even have all the pre-race Indy 500 stuff, and then the Indy 500. There's a lot of time. There's no crossover. It's kind of a perfect setup. But F1 wanted to change things up. They wanted to change the calendar location of Monaco, and Canada is now the race that coincides with the Indy 500. And if they started at the same time, like it originally seemed like it would, that would have kind of just been unfortunate for everyone involved. Now we do have that buffer, so you can watch Indy, you can watch Canada, you can do whatever you want. And I think it's a good compromise. I understand Formula One not wanting to run Monaco on the same day as the Indy 500 anymore, because the Monaco Grand Prix is kind of like the kickoff show for the entire day of motorsports, because you have the Indy 500, then you have the Coke 600 even after that. But Monaco is just awful.
It's like you're on your NFL Sunday, your 1 p.m. games, or not your 1 p.m., your whatever your AM slate is.
Yeah, it's like if the
it's
the
like
0-16
your
Browns were playing against the
Tennessee.
0-16 Lions or whatever other team went 0-16. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a train wreck of a race. So I understand them not wanting to. I don't know if that's. I mean, there's no way that's the official reason why they moved Monaco, but realistically, it had to have played a role.
Yeah.
Getting into the sprint stuff, though, Canada itself, the Netherlands, and Singapore now are all being added as sprint races, and Coda, Interlagos, and Qatar are all losing sprint races. Well, that means Miami, Silverstone, and China all keep their sprint races.
Yeah. Doesn't really make a difference to me. I don't know about you.
Kind of not. I don't like the sprint weekend format. I don't like sprint races. I just don't see the point. I find them to be gimmicky. I'm happy that Brazil doesn't have a sprint anymore, because I think that's a race that I would like to keep, for lack of a better term, kind of sacred to how it has been historically. Qatar, maybe they don't want that to be a sprint race because it's late in the season. I don't really care either way on that. Coda, I don't really care. Canada, I would have liked that to stay the way it is. Singapore, I would have liked that to stay the way it is. Netherlands, I don't really care. So it doesn't really make a huge difference to me. I think that the whole system should be scratched to begin with. I don't think it should exist, so it doesn't really matter to me how they want to divide the sprint races throughout the season, because to me, either way, it's just a bad thing that I don't think should exist in the sport. But I don't get paid to make decisions, so oh well. Next bit of Formula One news isn't really Formula One news, but it is Max Verstappen news, so we're going to talk about it. I didn't really realize this when we talked about this last week, but he had to drive a detuned version of the GT3 and GT4 cars that he was supposed to drive, because that's just like the rules. That's just the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
So he didn't do that well because his cars had like 150 less horsepower than everyone else on track. And he didn't even get to race in one of the cars that he was supposed to jump in because it had damage, and that meant that he wasn't going to get the permit to race in non-detuned cars. But a committee reviewed the case, and they decided to grant Verstappen a license anyway, according to motorsport.com. And Max will go back to the Nürburgring now with the ability to not be racing those detuned cars between Azerbaijan and Singapore. And, you know, his ultimate goal is to race in the Nürburgring 24 hours. Next year in 2026, that race would take place during one of Formula One's 3-week gaps. Mm-hmm. So he would be able to run in that. And he has the ability to do so now that he has licensing to race GT cars around the Nürburgring. That would be really cool to see what it would be like for him to run that race in a GT3 car. He talked the son of Verstappen's manager is racing in a like MaxVerstappen.com schemed Ferrari. So maybe that team could work something out with Max. But he's also said that he wants to have his own GT3 team. So if he can create that within the next year and race it at the Nürburgring 24 hours, that would be pretty interesting. Would be pretty cool. I don't know. You're much more of an endurance racing fan than I am. I don't really venture into that world, but I don't know. Is that possible to create a GT3 team in a year and get all your ducks in a row to go racing next? What is it, March?
I think it's possible. I think the way he's gonna go is like a partner like an established team. I'm not sure. This is not a series I really follow well, but I think maybe like Carlos team, Max Verstappen, of course, if you were to partner with them, and just rent their people with some of his people, and I think that can easily be done.
Okay, well, then that'd be pretty interesting. Last bit of Formula One news. It's not even really news. It's just rumors, so we won't go into it too much on this show. We do mention rumors, but we don't really talk about the facts of everything until the rumors are confirmed, and like you said, the facts are truly facts if the rumors ever get confirmed at all. But lots of people are saying that Isaac Hadjar will be racing with the main Red Bull team in 2026, and Arvid Lindblad will be racing at Racing Bulls, which would mean that Liam Lawson and Yuki Tsunoda would be in contention for the last seat at Racing Bulls, because obviously Verstappen isn't leaving Red Bull Racing. If this were to happen, I think that it would be an unfortunate move for Hadjar's career just because of how second drivers have fared at Red Bull. I think that Lindblad to RB is too soon. I think another year in Formula 2 could suit him very well. And then Lawson and Yuki, I think if it came down to the two of them, it would probably be Lawson because Yuki's probably out of the Red Bull family at this point. But who knows? We don't know. These are just rumors. We'll talk about the facts when they come. But
Lindblad's 7th in the Saints. One thing I do want to mention, Ethan, that I forgot to put in the doc, is David Malukas is now officially to Team Penske. I think this is puts on both driver and team to have an opportunity to win win races and championships. They're in it for the long haul. We've seen Malukas perform really well at the short ovals, especially in kind of cars that aren't really supposed to do well.
Yeah, I mean,
so I think
that's one of those rumors that has been rumored so long and so heavily that you almost forget that it wasn't actually official. But yeah, now it is official. Like you said, he's kind of had some good results at times during his IndyCar career. A few podiums. His second place at the Indy 500 was really impressive. And yeah, I think it's just a natural progression for him in his career, especially after Will Power left. I mean, he's fairly young, 23 years old, and it's time for him to kind of step up, and this will be a good challenge for him. I don't want to go so far as to say, like, oh, he's going to be fighting for championships, because one, you never know how he's going to adjust, and two, with Alex Palou's dominance, I don't really know if he can challenge for championships, but I definitely would expect him to get a couple of wins next year, a lot more podiums, and just overall be contending within the top 10 on a regular basis, because, well, yes, he has been in the top 10 at times, and it's been impressive given the cars that he has driven. We've never seen a consistent good run of results for him. We've seen good runs of form when you put it in the context of what cars he's driven, but we've never seen good on paper points scoring runs from him. So we'll see how that goes. That is exciting, for sure.
Well, that's fair. I would lean more away from that, because a ninth place in an AJ Foyt car is very, very good.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, we've seen these impressive results when you put it into the context of the car he's driving, but if you just look on paper and you see in ninth place, it's like, okay, cool, I guess. But now he has a chance to not only get a ninth place on a regular basis, but to get much better than a ninth place. So
moving into the previews now.
And now for next week's race previews.
Yeah.
Baku, Ethan.
Yeah, Baku's kind of a weird circuit because the Max is never really super amazing there, it seems like. Like even last year, like Sergio Perez was running better than him. The Ferraris seem to be always really good at Baku. Like, look out for Leclerc. But I think this is a race that one of the McLarens should definitely win. We'll get into that more when we get into our previews. Yeah. But definitely the McLarens are the front runners. Something interesting to note is that rain is expected at Baku this weekend.
Oh boy!
However, I was looking at the weather for Baku, and it seems like it's going to be early in the day on both Saturday and Sunday. So it wouldn't.
F2. Ooh.
Yeah. So F2, look out, but probably wouldn't impact any F1 proceedings unless obviously the rain didn't come until later.
All right, New Hampshire, kind of a really flat, mile-long track. 301 laps, I believe. Got to have an extra lap.
301.
Yeah, it's an extra lap in New Hampshire. I don't know why. But anyway, into the five guys to look out for. Denny Hamlin won there twice. Kyle Busch, Brad Keselowski, Christopher Bell all won there twice. Joey Logano, he's won the Lobster once. That is a trophy that they give out in New Hampshire. It is a live lobster. Someone's gonna have a nice dinner on Sunday night. The data suggests the race will be a 6 out of 10, so kind of that middle of the road racetrack we'll see. No open cars this week in the Cup Series. Truck Series, you've got a lot of drivers changing. You got Brent Cruz in the 1 for Tricon. Young's cars are going to be the 02 of Jason Alexander and the 20 for Mason Massey. Rayum Brothers 3 trucks are going to be Stephen Molossi in the 2, Blake Lothine in the 22, and Tyler Tomasi in the 33. Norm Benning is going to be in his own truck, the 6. Spires 7 and 77 are Patrick Emmerling, Corey LaJoy, respectively. McAnally Hilgeman is bringing their 5th truck, the 16, for Christian Eckes. Nice, their lineup outside of Matt Mills in the 42s, Connor Jones in the 41, Andres Perez de Lara in the 44, Bailey Curry in the 45, Halmar Friesen, Caden Honeycutt in the 52. 62 will be Michael Christopher Jr. making his debut. 69 for Garage 66 MBM is Derek White. And the 74 for Mike Harmon is Caleb Costner.
And now for next week's race picks.
So into the pick points, Ethan. The guests did well last week. Noah made with the lane rigs. Connor Zilich, Denny Hamlin, 7 points for him. You had 2 for Zilich and Hamlin. I had 1 for Zilich. So now your lead is 25 over me, 51 over the guest. Largest lead for the second week in a row since week 6 that you've had over me.
I'm just too good at this, dude. I'm just elite, bro.
Okay.
I'm going for a 3-peat, Andrew. When are you gonna start challenging me? All right, okay.
Anyway, F2 Sprint Azerbaijan. I guess this week Brooklyn for the Azerbaijan picks, Noah for the New Hampshire picks. So we'll see how they do. Brooklyn for both the main race and the sprint race went with Leonardo Fornaroli. I went with Joshua Dirksen, won the sprint race last year. He's won a race this year, coming off a 2nd and a 3rd last time out in Monza. I think he's going to do well this week.
Okay. I'm going with Gabriel Mini. I don't think he's won a race this year, maybe even ever in F2. But he's performed well at Azerbaijan in the past. So, and especially with sprint races, like you never really know who's sprint races might be the most random. Like F2 sprint races might be the most random thing in motorsports. One of them. So you never really know what's gonna happen. And like I said, he's good around that track. So sure.
For what it's worth, we've picked F2 sprint races better than the feature races.
Really?
I'm going with Richard Verschoor in the feature race. Solid driver. What do you
He's done well there in the past.
Yeah.
I'm taking Jack Crawford, who's also done well there in the past, not quite to the levels of Rashore, but I think that he's a better driver. I think he's coming into his own. Yeah.
Yeah. For our F1 podium, Brooklyn went Max, Charles, Oscar, no Lando. Interesting there. I went Oscar,
Hater.
Lando, Max. I think Oscar's going to get the better of Lando. He did last year.
He definitely did last year.
And
yeah.
I think Max is. We saw the Red Bulls good at Monza. I mean, kind of similar. You got that big straight at Monza. Got the big straight at Baku. So maybe something there.
Maybe. Maybe, but also a very different type of track in terms of the tight corners as well. But yeah, very long straight, so maybe. I am taking Lando, Oscar, and Charles in that order. I'm taking Lando to win because, quite frankly, if he wants any chance of contesting for this championship at this point after that DNF in Zandvoort, he's going to need to outperform Oscar nearly every single race. He did outperform him at Monza. He struggled at Azerbaijan last year, so hopefully he learned from that and knows what he needs to do, and he can get me 5 points. And then Oscar second, because the McLarens are just amazing. And I took Charles third because he when he's not crashing into walls at Azerbaijan, he's driving really fast around Azerbaijan. Yeah. It's a good circuit for him, so I'm taking Charles.
This is the place where he had his famous quote, "I am stupid."
Yeah, which he said after crashing into a wall.
Moving over to New Hampshire, you got the Truck Series. You and the guest have the same pick, so I'm not going to spoil that. But I'm going Lane Riggs. Lane Riggs is very, very good at the short tracks. We saw it last week at Bristol. So you got a similar track. I think he's got a potential to win. But I also like the guy that you picked as well.
I'm taking Corey Heim because he is really fast everywhere, and I know he doesn't win every single time, but it kind of feels like every single time we mention his name, it's oh yeah, he won again.
Yeah, you've picked Corey Heim. I believe now this is your third consecutive race that you've picked Corey Heim in the Truck Series race. I don't know what it is for me. What I just snapped. It was at least 3 for me. It was 3 for me is that I snapped. I guess the guest picked Lane Riggs last week, winning, so they're starting their Corey Heim streak, I guess. Cup Series, we all picked the same dude, Christopher Bell. He's always been good there in the Xfinity Series. Was really good. Cup Series won 2 races. I don't know. I thought about going Denny Hamlin maybe, but Christopher Bell is just the guy.
Yeah, we have like probably not the way we should be doing this next season. But as right now, we have a spreadsheet that kind of where we put our entrance in. And when I was putting my picks in, I already saw that Andrew had put his picks in. I saw that the Noah's picks were in there. And I saw that they were both Christopher Bell, and I thought, wow, these people both know NASCAR a lot better than I do. I should probably listen to them. And I also put Christopher Bell.
All right, so that is it for us from the Loose Wheel Show, Season 3, Episode 37. If you're listening to us in the MU, thank you for listening. If you're listening to us on Blaze Radio Online, thank you for listening. That is Ethan Ignatowski. You got anything left to say?
Goodbye.
More Blaze Radio programming coming right up with The Sun is Shining from Bob Marley and the Wailers.
To me, it looked like he actually lost the wheel.
The wheel for Ross Chastain is still and perfect.
Wheel on the track.
Did you leave the wheel loose?
You picked the fine time to leave me loose, wheel.